Now we're going to be talking about another healthy habit that I totally love, right? This is not about food and all of that. This is totally different. Food, sleep, posture, breathing, all of that have their place and they're very, very important. But this is one of my favorites. This is gratitude. This is something I had to work on for a long time. Gratitude, being grateful. I remember people used to tell me like 20 years ago when I started this stuff, you got to be more grateful. And I was like, what's there to be grateful for? My life is crap. This thing's not going my way. Everybody's this and everybody's that. And it's just like one moan to the next. Just keep moaning, moaning, moaning. Now, if you find yourself moaning a lot like that, then guaranteed 100% you're not being positive, right? And if you're not being positive, what does that mean? Guaranteed 100% you're not being grateful, right? So with gratitude comes positivity. Okay. According to Wallace Wattles, he says, many are kept in poverty, stress, and lack because of using the universal laws incorrectly. And the universal laws, quite a few of them underpin the power of gratitude. Okay. So if you're not being grateful, you're not using those universal laws. And when you're using the universal laws properly, then it means that life is going well for you, right? And even the things that look like it's not going well, you know deep down that it's going well because we've been through some of this. We have to welcome these things because this is part of the cleaning process, the healing process, the purifying process, is crossing that river of change, is letting go of the things that no longer serve and picking up the things that do serve. So when you're using those laws efficiently, you're basically looking at what serves you and what doesn't serve you and picking up what serves you and running with that and leaving the other stuff behind. Okay? But first, you need to understand where gratitude comes from. Gratitude comes from the source. Okay? When you're in gratitude, you're very close to the source, right? You're right where the source is, because that's where God, the universe, the source, force, whatever you want to call it, that's where it exists in those high frequencies. All right? So first you need to believe in the universal power, in the God power. You need to believe in the power higher than you, right? That lives in you, that works through you, that uses your body as a place of expression of life. Okay? So believe in God, believe in the universe from which everything comes, from which all things come. That is the first rule. Okay? Everything is mental. Everything is mind. You have to start thinking in the right way, believing that God universe gives you all that you desires. You have to have that mindset. Get everything that you want. 100%, no doubt. If you have doubt, then this is not going to work for you. Okay? However, if you do have doubt, you can exercise your faith by testing things, right? Choosing to believe, which we're going to talk about in a minute. Okay? So relate yourself to God, relate yourself to the universe, relate yourself to the source, right? By feeling deep and profound gratitude. When you're relating like that, your manifestations are coming towards you fast and furious. Fast and furious. So instead of focusing on the lack within the gift of what you're having, right? So if you think things aren't working out for you, instead of going, oh, things aren't working out, we talked about this last week, didn't we? What do you say? You go, everything is working out. Even this that doesn't look like it's working out, it's working out. You're focusing on the gift within everything as opposed to the lack within the gifts, because always a gift. There's always a gift there. But it's up for you to have the mindset to see it that way. All right. So, and when you're focusing on the gift within everything, then you are being grateful for everything. Okay? Because the nearer to the source you are, the nearer to the wealth that you want, you are, the nearer to the health that you want, you are, the nearer to the love you want, you are, the nearer to the satisfaction you want, you are, the nearer to the freedom you want, right? The nearer to the money you want, you are. Everything you want, you will receive, but you need to get closer to the source. And what is closer? It's gratitude. There is a quote from Wallace Wattles that goes like this: the more gratefully we fix our minds on the Supreme, when good things come to us, the more good things we will receive, and the more rapidly they will come. And the reason simply is that the mental attitude of gratitude draws the mind into closer touch with the source from which the blessings come. Right? Do you remember that map with the frequencies, low frequency, and then you go up to the high frequency? Gratitude is up there. That's where the source energy is, the pure consciousness is. Okay, so the more we fix our minds on being grateful of good things coming to us and receiving good things, the more things we see that are, are supporting us, right? We start getting the proof of all of that, and the quicker they come as well. So the more you can practice it, you start creating that momentum. Before you know it, it keeps coming, it keeps coming, it keeps coming. And you're just like, wow, wow, and more gratitude. And it keeps coming. More to be grateful for comes the more you feel grateful, right? So you've created a momentum. So good things are always coming to you. And that mental attitude of gratitude keeps you in alignment with the source. And when you're in alignment with the source, you're at good frequency. Good things are always happening, and your manifestations are just coming in, bam, 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 one after the other, right? You speak it and it just comes in because that's the frequency you are emitting consistently, constantly, and always. This is your practice. Gratitude, gratitude, right? If you can practice to be grateful, just finding things to be grateful for all day long, every day, and make this a practice for the rest of your life, you will have the sweetest life ever. Because what gratitude is doing, it's taking your mind into alignment with the things that you want, right? So it has to come to you. It keeps you creative. It keeps your thoughts pure and focused on the things that you want, or more of the things that you want. And it prevents you from having those competitive thoughts where you're thinking that's not happening and that's not happening and she's getting it, but I'm not getting it, right? Because now you're focusing on being grateful. You're generating the energy. Remember, you have to become what you want. You can't just want something. You have to become it first to have it. You can't want what you want, otherwise you can't have it. You have to become it, right? So you have to be grateful to get more to be grateful for. So if you want your manifestations fast and furious, become more grateful. Bottom line. Gratitude keeps you looking at the unlimited, right? Instead of looking at things in a limiting way. Oh, it didn't. Right? Going for the lack, going for why it didn't happen, right? Who cares why it didn't happen? Where we want to see why it happens, because that's what we want to see more of. All right. So you want to be looking at the unlimited supply, the abundance, just rolling in and feeling the abundance and feeling the wealth, feeling the richness, feeling all the resources coming towards you, all the opportunities, all the expression, feeling it coming towards you, building and building and feeling it, feeling it. These, you have to practice ways of being grateful. There are umpteen ways, which I'm going to go through some of them in a minute. But whatever you find gratitude in, make it a part of your routine, because you want to stay in alignment. You want to stay in that frequency where the source is. And that's where gratitude is. Okay. So some of the laws of the universe that gratitude is blatantly supported in: law of cause and effect, right? You have a cause, there's an effect. right? The cause is you're focusing on things that you're grateful for and you're feeling the joy, feeling the goodness, feeling the excitement and the pull. That's going to pull in that effect. What's the effect? More to be grateful for, right? So you go to your job and you do a great job, and your boss sees it and he goes, oh, you get a promotion, you get a raise, no problem. You go to your job and you're feeling negative and you're bringing negative energy, you're not doing your work properly, then you get the effects of that too. You probably get fired, you get demoted, or you're not getting that raise, right? So what you put out, you get back in. There's another law of compensation, right? And then the law of correspondence, which is the same as the law of attraction. So you're creating the frequency and that energy around you that supports gratitude. Then you're going to be pulling in things that are going to be making you more grateful. Okay. So this is a universal law. The more grateful you are, the more you get to be grateful. So you stay on the frequency of gratitude. You cannot lose. Okay. Because action and reaction are always equal and in the opposite direction. All right. So you get an action going this way, there's a reaction. So if you imagine having a conversation with someone and you say something negative to them, they respond in a negative way and you respond in a negative way. And it's all this reaction and it just escalates into something massive and unpleasant. The same thing, if you use that same energy to do work with gratitude, it does exactly the same thing because action and reaction are equal and opposite, right? So you're telling that person how lovely they are, they tell you how lovely they are. Yeah. They say, oh, let's do this together. And you do this together. You create something beautiful together. And before you know it, you have a great friendship, you got a great business together, you got something beautiful, right? Positive generates more positive. And this is what gratitude is. There's a Bible verse that says, one of my favorites as well, says, draw nigh unto God, and God will draw nigh unto you, right? So again, the energy, the God force, the universal force, if you are allowing that to flow through you, flow in your body, you're letting go of the things that are limiting and you're being grateful that you get what you want. You're looking at your end scene and you're feeling yourself in it and you got what you want. How does that make you feel? It makes you feel grateful. It makes your heart really open up. You feel really excited, right? When you're living at that frequency, that's God kingdom frequency. And when you're at that frequency gives more to you. So you draw to it and it comes closer to you because you're dropping all the stuff in between that doesn't serve you. So you get closer to your manifestations. And your manifestations are at kingdom frequency, they're at God frequency, right? So because that's where every possible thing that you could ever want is. So you just get there, the universe already knows the calling inside of you. You'll just see things just show up for you. You can write them down, you can speak them out, but it already knows because it already has the frequency of what those things are. So you just need to stay in the frequency of feeling good, of feeling happy, of feeling excited, of feeling that you have everything that you want. Because that's how you feel when you have everything that you want. So you remember, you have to become it first. We're going to go over this in week 9 because the embodiment process we're talking about here. All right. So with strong, constant gratitude, the reaction from God is strong and constant, right? So you're going to be moving closer and closer. There's another thing that Wallace Wattles talks about. He says you cannot exercise much power without gratitude because it's gratitude that keeps you connected to power. And I kind of explained that just now, right? That's where your power comes from. So if this was the only thing I taught throughout this 10 weeks, you use it powerfully, you wouldn't need anything else, right? But obviously, I've taught you all the other things so you can pull things in and you can understand where they come from, where these concepts come from, and why you need to transmute and transform into a different identity in order to get what you want. And that identity is glued together with gratitude. Because gratitude, imagine you can't be negative and be grateful at the same time. So it keeps your thoughts positive, keeps all those negative thoughts away and at bay, right? Try being grateful for something, really be grateful, and then try to be negative. You can't do it. It's just like you can't be dancing and having and jumping around, feeling good, and then be negative at the same time. No, which is why we move our bodies, because the first place that we shift those negative frequencies, right, in moving in the physiology, we learned that in week 2. All right. So complaining, blaming, shaming, pointing fingers, and being disruptive is not something that goes together with gratitude. So when you read gratitude, your frequency is high. Those things are really low. Okay. So you know you can't fake it. You can't fake it. All right. Gratitude keeps your mind focused on all the best things, all the best case scenario happening, right? So if you're focused then on the best things happening, what's going to happen? The best things are going to surround you. You're going to surround yourself with the best. And when you're surrounding yourself with the best, what's going to happen? You're becoming the best. And what happens when you become the best? You receive the best. So it's a perpetuating cycle that gives birth to itself. All right. So it births faith, and faith births more gratitude, and gratitude births more faith, which is my diagram here, right? So you have your reality that you want to create, okay? So reality creation and gratitude, right? You can't have one without the other. You cannot create this without gratitude, right? Because gratitude, remember, you cannot exercise much power without gratitude. There's no power in this if the gratitude isn't in it. Right? It's like the salt in your food. If you're cooking, kind of bland otherwise, or you're seasoning in your food in general. So you need the gratitude to grow faith, right? Because you're using the 4D, you're imagining, you're seeing yourself doing the thing, being the person, having all of the dreams come true. The gratitude comes from that, right? So that you choose to believe. You have to choose to believe. This is a 4D. You're choosing to believe, and you're emotionalizing, romanticizing it inside of your mind and inside of your heart, and feeling those feelings of gratitude for having it, right? And that drives this cycle, or this spiral. The gratitude, it needs to be super emotional. You cannot fake it. Like I said before, there's no faking it, right? Because frequency is frequency, energy is energy. It's not something you can fake. So you have to be in that scene until you feel the emotions, and it should feel like your heart is just starting, it's just lighting up, right? I've said that your heart truly opens and sings, it's lighting up. You feel so excited, you're just like, well, can't contain yourself. You're like, right? If I give you £1 million right now, what do you do with yourself? You go, ah! Right? It needs to be gratitude like that. That's going to spark those emotions, right? And then you start seeing things happening, right? Your reticular activating system is bringing these things to you and showing you, look at this, what about this, right? And they're in alignment with where you're going, and you say, yes, more please, more please, more please. That's what I want, right? And you see more of it, which grows your faith. You're thinking, this thing is working. And then you may even choose something bigger than you started with, and you keep driving that. Again, with gratitude, your heart starts blooming like a flower, the way Dr. Joe Dispenza describes it. And when your heart blooms like that, like a flower, you know the magnetic frequency that's coming from your heart is so massive that wherever your manifestations are, they're running, literally running, sprinting towards you. And as they sprint, as you keep going around in this little cyclone here, the manifestations are presenting themselves. Maybe one big blob of manifestation, or be one after the other, one after the other. But then the more you practice this, what happens is you become more natural at it, right? It's almost like the habits is now super healthy. So you have this amazing life. Even when things look negative to someone else, you know that that's not a negative. You know that that's where you got to really fuel yourself up to hit the next target, right? And hit the next target. Because you're never going up and down just in linear form like that. You're going up and up and up and up and up, right? You're riding the waves up. Okay. So you're increasing your faith, you're increasing your power, you're increasing your manifestations. This is the life you're meant to live. This is how we're meant to living life. But we've been taught to watch the news, to watch all the bad things that could happen, and we wired ourselves in that negative way. Now it's time to rewire that, let that go, and say, no, I want to wire myself in a positive way that picks me up, that lifts me up, that takes me to the next level, that gets me really experiencing life to the fullest. And in that, you're going to need a lot of gratitude. And gratitude is one of the sweetest things. When you start exercising that, wow, there's nothing that can stop you. You just want to dance. You're dancing all the time. People are going, what's going on? What have you got that I haven't got? Show me, show me, show me, show me. Right? Practice gratitude. And there are lots of ways to do that. Appreciate yourself. Start with yourself. Appreciate yourself. Appreciate yourself for sitting here right now and listening to me, listening to this information, being here, for making the investment in yourself to be here. Say, well done, you. Wow, I'm learning all this stuff. This is amazing. Now I can do this. Look at yourself in the mirror and go, you are so amazing. You are beautiful. And all the bits of your body that you used to go, start looking at them and go, you know what? You have arms. Thank God. Some people don't have arms. Thank you, God, for my arms. Right? You're not going to look at your arms and go, oh, my arms are so big and I got these little chunk of flesh under here or whatever. Right? My arms are beautiful. My arms are beautiful. My legs are beautiful. My butt is beautiful. My waist is beautiful. My face is beautiful. I am beautiful. I have got a great heart. I'm so positive. I'm just getting better and better every day. I'm so proud of myself for making myself take the step to do the things that I really want to do. I'm so grateful to really clear out all that negative stuff that's been holding me back. I'm so grateful that I had the courage to do that for myself. And now I can really serve myself and serve the world in a much better way at a much better frequency that's going to benefit myself and everyone around me. That's what the universe likes. It loves purpose. It loves when you love yourself. And week 8, we're going to be talking more about self-love because this is another thing that we need to ramp up massively because that needs to be big and bold and beautiful. All right. Other ways you can be grateful is choose people, especially people that you're not too sure about or just, rub you up the wrong way. Choose them and find ways to be grateful for them, right? Even the fact that they rub you up the wrong way and trigger you so much that you have to now look inside yourself. You got to get introspective to find out why, what is it that they're showing me that I need to work on? Thank you for showing me. It's not that you are annoying, it's me, right? And then once you start seeing that, you don't really see those people anymore. They're not even coming into your space anymore because the frequency that they're bringing is no longer vibrating from you. So they can't be there. Okay. They're either going to change or they're going to disappear. Okay. So again, everything is energy. So find those people. Don't just look for the people that you're happy with, like your children and your husband and your best friends. No, look, be grateful for them. Of course, that there's a nice, easy places to start if you're struggling. But when you really want to challenge yourself, go for the hard stuff. Go for what looks hard. Because it's not hard. It's actually beautiful because they're the ones with your money. They're the ones with your gold, right? Go and get it. All right. Look around you and appreciate. I don't care where you are. If you're in a little one-bedroom studio and you feel all encroached on, you can make that energy bigger, right? It all comes from you. Remember, everything is mind, comes from you, and you generate the feeling. And before you created a frequency so big that, oh, you've grown out of this apartment, and now you have been offered a new apartment. Or a new apartment is you've seen it somewhere and you apply for it and you got it, and or some crazy opportunity presents itself to you for you to then move up and out of that space that before you were resisting, because what you resist persists. You resist it, you're going to be grounded more solidly into it. So don't resist it. It's like quicksand. The more you wiggle, the deeper you go. So don't resist. Just let go and relax. Let go and relax and find things to be grateful for because that energy of gratitude lifts you up. It lifts you and it supports you and it gives you more support and lifts you and supports you and so on and so forth. So be grateful. Be grateful. What else can you do to be grateful? Look around you for other things you can appreciate, people you can appreciate, things you can appreciate, animals, children, trees, birds, nature, right? Experiences. Go back and look at some of those negative experiences that you have and go, oh, where did I miss the lesson? And pick up your lesson and pick up your nugget, right? Go back and do it, right? And you can also do things for your future, right? You're in the future and you're looking at yourself being grateful there. So it's almost like magnifying the manifestation before it physically shows up, right? So you're drawing even more manifestation. And what else? In the movie The Secret, they talked about the gratitude coin on the gratitude rock, but you can use a coin, you can use a scarf, you can use anything, a token of some point. So when you put your hand in your pocket, you take your hand out, and you've got this rock in your hand, you've touched it, and it reminds you, what can I be grateful for, right? Or you can use elements of things that when you go and touch them, or you walk past them, you stop for a moment and just be grateful. You want gratitude to be a mega part of your life, mega part of your life. And it needs to be real gratitude. So if you need to practice the art of gratitude, then you practice that because it took me years to get it really deeply, right? Hopefully for you, it won't take that long, but if it needs to, that's what it needs to. But you need to practice it now. Find little things that you can be grateful for that are easy and practice the feeling of them. Ask yourself, why are you grateful for them? Why is it so grateful? And you keep asking yourself the question, what if I didn't have them in my life, what would happen? And because I have them in my life, this is what's happening. And this is how it makes me feel. And you go into that feeling until you feel like your heart is opening, you're crying, right? And then you build on that. Build on that. That is the frequency. That is the energy. Gratitude should make you want to scream, cry, jump for joy, and do all kinds of crazy stuff. You just feel good all the time. It's all about feeling good. Feeling good. This is a feeling good machine. All right? So feel good. You can also get in on your journal and start writing. Writing your best ideal day. How does that feel? I wake up in the morning and with the love of my life, I open the patio doors and it's a beautiful view and he's lying over in bed and I'm just saying, I'm so grateful. I look back at him and he's just opening his eyes and he's so gorgeous. And and you dream and you fantasize and you feel the feelings as if it's happening right now. If that's what you want to draw into your life. I did that for a while right before I met my partner, and I did meet my partner. And on top of that, I had the exact experience that I had when we went on holiday in Italy. Our bedroom had this beautiful balcony, and I went out on the balcony, opened the doors. He was in bed. He came out and he gave me the same hug, wrapped his arms around me, looking at this beautiful view. The universe will give you exactly what you want. You just have to know that you want it enough, and just get in a state of gratitude like you're crazy. Okay? Um, Visualization, we know that part of the process, the meditation. And if you take these visualizations into your meditation where you are in the quantum field, then you are super. It's almost like pressing that supercharge button in Batman's car where you just go, pew, and he's gone, right? So this is what it's doing when you're doing it deep in meditation, when you're in that space, in the quantum space, okay? Everything is super real and super fast. So use it. There's another one you can use a list of things that you're grateful for. On your book here, it says practice gratitude. Name 15 things you're grateful for today. You can do that every single day and challenge yourself. Make it 15 different things every single day, right? And if you get to 15 and if you get to 5 and you get stuck, then go deeply into each of the ones that you've got there until it just makes you feel so explosive, and expansive that sometimes you may feel called to go tell someone how grateful you are, and spread that energy. So you're almost like expanding the energy and magnifying it, not just within yourself, but within someone else, right? You're spreading it out, saying, I'm so grateful. I've got a friend that she's grateful for everything, right? I remember when I first met her, she totally inspired me, thinking, my God, this is what being grateful is, because she's telling you, thank you for even the smallest things where people just ignore it, right? Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I got a patient as well. He says, thank you for everything. And you think about people like that, they're always smiling, they're always happy, they're always joyful. And he is, and she is, right? It's like, wow. So it does work if you're using it well, because what it does is feeding your reticular activating system. And your reticular activating system is working on your behalf to bring you more things to be grateful for, more things to make you feel good, right? What a way to live. What a way to live. Now, if you can capture this as a habit, then I guarantee your life is going to be easy and breezy, especially with all the information that you have now. Now we're in week 7. There's no stopping you now. There is no stopping you now. Okay. Now I've gleaned all this information over the past 20 plus years, so that you don't have to. You get 10 weeks of this and you can go over this over and over, because every time that you think you learned everything for that week, when you start watching it again, you're like, wow, I missed that. Wow, I learned something new again. Wow, I learned something new again. Okay, so this can serve you for a whole lifetime if you're using it well, to give you the life, the acceleration in the life of ease and success that you say that you want.